Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Great British Food Festival Cook Along Live. Today is going to be our last last session of the year. And Lady will be leading our another Christmas creation. She is our Chrissie. Chrissie.
Hello, good morning. How lovely to see you all. It's getting very close to Christmas, and the one thing we always love to make and eat in this house are mince pies. So this morning we're going to make a nice sweet crisp pastry for our mince pies, and we'll also, while that pastry is resting for a while, we'll also make a little bit of mincemeat. I'll just run through that for you so that you can see how easy it is to make your own mincemeat. And you know, once you've made your own, it just tastes fantastic, and you can put whatever you fancy into it. But we'll do that, and yes, it'll be lovely.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, you have to talk us through about how to make mincemeat, because like I told you, we had a good talk, you know, before we.
Yeah. I'm just grabbing my big bowls. I've got a bowl here and it's too small.
Okay. Before we start, Karen, would you like to tell us about the tradition of when we go?
Do you want to, sorry, Marnie, would you like me to tell you about mince pie history?
Just a short one. What are we drinking while we
right, okay, sorry. Viewers, good morning. I'm Karen Wright. I was on the Great British Bake Off a couple of years ago, and I'm having great times with the Great British Food Festival doing this series. We're doing Christmassy stuff. We're doing mince pies with Chrissie today. And it's a very traditional thing to do when you are making mince pies in this house, is to have a little tiny glass of sherry. This is cream sherry, like the cream thing.
I've got a light sherry here, Karen.
Oh, that's very nice. Very refined. Yes. Chin, everybody.
Yeah, we're all cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
I'll just chip in before Chrissie gets started. For anybody out there that doesn't know, mince pies are very ancient, and it was during the times of the Wars of the Roses, all those centuries ago, when the Crusaders went across the foreign lands and they chanced upon all these beautiful ingredients that you get in the mincemeat, and they did actually use to
and the spices, Karen, isn't it? They brought back spices, the
nuts, all of that stuff, yeah. And they brought these lovely things back to the UK, and that's where mince pies originated from the Crusaders. Yeah. Thank you so much.
And of course, mincemeat wasn't like mincemeat now, was it, Karen? I think the sweet mincemeat we know now, that was
much later. Yes, it used to have all sorts of things in it.
We'll make our pastry and we'll have a little chat about mince pies and of history. I've got a light sherry here, Karen.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Very refined. Yes. Chin, everybody.
Yeah, we're all cheers.
Cheers. I'll chip in before Chrissie gets started.
For anybody else. So I've converted to grams, but I have to keep looking to see how many grams it is.
Pies are very ancient, and it was during the times of the Wars of the Roses.
Oh, well done! You're doing better than
all those centuries ago, when the Crusaders.
It's 10 ounces or 280 grams of
plain
flour, and that's going into my bowl there.
All these beautiful ingredients.
I'm also putting in it's 3 ounces. Or, as we say in modern language, 85 grams
you get in the mincemeat.
Icing sugar.
They did actually.
And the spices, Karen, isn't it? They brought back the spices. Well, I think, do you know what, Karen? Mine is slightly too, but I think once we get our fingers in there,
and all of that stuff, and they brought these lovely things back to the UK.
It will be fine.
And
then we've also got ground almonds. This is an ounce of ground almonds, so roughly about 28 grams of ground almonds in there.
Mince pies originated from the Crusaders. Thank you so much.
And of course, mincemeat wasn't like mincemeat now, was it? Rind of an orange. So you don't use the juice, just the rind in the pastry.
I'm using the lemon zest. Is that okay?
You can use lemon zest if you like. I often use lemon, but I've just recently started really enjoying that orangey taste in the pastry. It's very nice. So yes, you can use any citrus zest that you prefer. So there we have our dry ingredients, and then we're going to put our butter in. I've had my butter. I cut it up a little bit, but I put it in the fridge, just because pastry likes to be cold. And I'm not the best one for making pastry with my hands because I've always got warm hands. So warm hands, cold heart, maybe, I don't know. They do say cold hands, warm heart, don't they? But now we want to start using our fingers and mixing all that butter into our flour, our almonds, our icing sugar, our orange zest. And I don't know about you, we haven't got smell-o-vision here, but the smell from that orange zest is gorgeous. Is anyone else getting that?
Yeah, very nice.
So, if you want to do this, if you did this in your mixer, obviously it's a very quick job, isn't it? And you can soon get that sort of breadcrumb texture. So basically that's what you want to do, is you want to try and get all that butter incorporated into the dry ingredients.
Okay, so I all the dry ingredients together.
Yeah, how is yours looking, Marnie? Is it starting to resemble breadcrumbs? Sorry?
Not yet, but however,
yeah,
sugar particle is
if you give your bubble a little shake, it makes all the larger lumps of butter come to the surface, so you can start to really get into those and get them into the flour.
Okay.
This is quite a different pastry recipe to a normal short crust pastry, because, short crust pastry is generally fat and flour, and but this is a sweet, rich pastry because it's the butter, and it also has an egg yolk in it when you come to add your wet ingredients. And the first time I made it, I thought, it's far too wet. It's quite a wet pastry, but do you know what? It works brilliantly. So I've used it for years, and it is a good recipe. So I have here. So if you get to that stage where you've got fine breadcrumbs, I have an egg yolk. So I've separated my egg. I have an egg yolk, and I have 3 tablespoons of milk.
Oh, I forgot the milk.
I'm going to give those a bit of a stir in, and then I'm going to pour those into my mix there. And then gradually that will all come together.
All right. Okay. So I'm adding the egg yolk in now, and I'm about to add on another 3 tablespoons of milk. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
My fingers must be on slow go this morning. I'm still rubbing in the breadcrumb stage.
And you'll find when you come to mix this up, it's a very sticky mixture, but it does come away from the bowl.
I'm sure it's going to be lovely. The other day I watched the television, and the company that making mince pie in industrial scale, they actually sometimes they not really use butter, they use palm oil instead. So if it's all butter, it means that they use butter, but the cheap one, the lower scale one, they use the palm oil. So now I learned a little bit more.
Yeah.
And mince pie is cheese
I do like to know what's in my food, and I do think that if you cook things yourself and you make things from scratch, then at least you know what it is that's in your food. Because so often, you can be unaware, can't you? You can read the small print, but you can still sometimes be caught out. So I'm going to take that and wrap it up in some cling film, and then I'm going to put that in the fridge, and then I'll show you a little bit of mincemeat. So excuse me a moment.
Okay. Mine is still crumble.
There we go. I've wrapped mine already. I've got a couple.
So, Ben, apart from bowl and how you do you do anything?
You've done yours, Ben. Have you wrapped them?
I have, yes.
Well done. Organised. Very
They're
organised.
ready. And I've made my own mincemeat.
Oh,
And
lovely.
yeah, last Christmas, I was given an unusual bottle. We always get something, and I've never opened it. So I opened it, and it's a rose liqueur. So I've made my mincemeat with this, and, it tastes really nice.
Wonderful.
I don't know where it's come from, but it tastes delicious.
Oh, wow. That does look nice. Ah, very good. So, so mincemeat. Karen was saying before, the Crusaders brought back these lovely recipes and these spices. And, of course, there was quite a trade in spices. And in Tudor times, it was that once a year expense that people would go to markets, and obviously the poorer people couldn't necessarily afford things like the spices and the nutmeg. I mean, nutmegs and things like that were very, very expensive. But a lot of wealthy merchants would have their annual shop to buy in these spices and buy in these dried fruits. But, a lot of ordinary farmers, Tudor farmers, they'd have a lot of foraging crops. They'd have a lot of fruit and plums. And so a mince pie would have been mutton mostly, and of course the suet. And then they would put in, dried fruits, different fruits, spices that if they had them. And it would have a very thick crust on. And a lot of pies would be just like having your own sort of casserole dish, really. They would have that encasing.
I've wrapped mine already.
And if it was totally sealed,
I've got a couple.
These pies would last quite a long time because, of course, they didn't have fridges and things like that to keep things, and the spices would help preserve the meat. So we are going to start making a little bit of mincemeat. So mincemeat is actually whatever you want it to be. It's actually very easy because it's dried fruits, it's apples, nuts, and I always add a little bit extra things that I fancy, like cranberries and apricots. So is anybody else going to be making mincemeat this morning, or shall I just demonstrate it?
Just 1 second, Chrissie. Mine is looks like.
Are you doing all right there, Marnie? Have you got your pastry together? It is quite a sticky mix, isn't it?
So, am I look okay? This one is my.
Let's have a look. I can't see you, Marnie.
Oh, okay. It's
Need
kind
a
of
little
like,
more milk.
or a little more milk. Okay, thank you, Ben.
I'm not seeing Marnie. I can only see myself, sadly. Where is she? Oh, yes, there you are. Look. Now, that's all come together, hasn't it, Marnie? That looks fine.
Mine is like this, and then I try to make it like a ball.
Yes.
Is that okay? Or do
if you put an egg yolk and your 3 tablespoons of milk in, it'll work. It'll be fine. Yeah. So put it all together in one big ball, Marnie. Bind it all together. No, don't. Have you put Have you put 3 tablespoons of milk in?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Don't add more.
Okay.
No,
okay.
you
I will
need
make
to add
sure
more.
it. Okay. I make sure I will make it a big ball.
You just need to bind it together. Just bring it all together.
I put my mixture on my worktop, and then I could get if your bowl's not big enough, and then I can sort of go in the outside, squeeze it together. That way. So you strip it in your bowl, pop it out, and build it together like that.
Okay, idea. Thank you.
Yeah. And then you can wrap it up in some cling film or something like that, and pop it in your fridge for now, Marnie.
That's brilliant. Thank you. I'm ready to listen how to make the mincemeat now, Chrissie.
Okay. Yes, I have shown campfire to remind homemade, and it does make it quite dull because of course everything gets coated in that fat. But this one I made about a month ago. I usually make it at the end of sort of October or mid-October, and it does keep. I've had that I've used that years old. I take it out, put it in a bowl, add a tablespoon of brandy, mix it up. It's perfect. It keeps for a long time. So in a bowl, I'm going to put, and I put down my recipe so that it was a small batch because I tend to make 6 to 8 jars at once of mincemeat. So I have in here. What I've done is I've chopped up 60 grams of apple. This is a cooking apple, but you can use a dessert apple if you'd like to. And I've put a little squeeze of lemon juice in that because generally when you're making a big batch, I would use the juice and the zest of the whole lemon. But I'm just going to put a little bit of lemon juice on that to stop the apple going brown. So I'm going to put 60 grams of chopped apple into my bowl. And then I'm going to put 60 grams of raisins. I've got 45 grams of sultanas. I've got 60 grams of brown sugar. I quite like the dark, soft brown sugar. I think that's quite nice caramelizing taste to it. And I've also got here some flaked almonds. Although sometimes I do just shot almonds in. So I shall put what have I got here? I've got about 25 grams of almonds. I'm hoping my husband brought some suet for me because I didn't have any suet. I'm always using butter, but I thought today I would do a batch with vegetable suet. So let's have a look. How much suet? We're going to have 50 grams of suet. But do you know what? I'm just going to put some in. Because I always wing it. But basically 50 grams of suet, and I'm mixing that all up. And then I've got currants. I've got about 60 grams of currants. And do you know what? Before now, I've bought those bags of dried fruit. You know, you can get the bags of mixed dried fruit with dried fruit, everything in. They've got peeling and things like that. So you do that and add to dried fruit. You added up all those measurements, the weights, you could substitute that with dried fruit and then add things yourself. I'm going to add mixed peel. That's about 45 grams of mixed peel in there. And then here, I'm very bad at sticking to recipes. When I've done my measurements of what I need for my mincemeat, I then think, I'd quite like a few bits of apricot in it. I rather like cranberries in. So I've got some cranberries here as well that I'm going to put in my mincemeat. So it's entirely up to you how you want your mincemeat to be. I mean, if you don't like nuts, you can't have nuts, then, you don't have to use any nuts at all. But, obviously in days gone by, they used to put all sorts of everything in and especially those that didn't have access to, the more exotic things in life, when they made their mince pies with their mutton and and their bits and pieces, they would generally just put whatever they had harvested and stored into that mincemeat.
Then made mince pie by yourself as well, isn't it? What did you put in your mince pie then?
So my mincemeat, very similar recipe. Lots of different peel. I like peel. Gives it a nice bite. But raisins, sultanas, currants. Brown sugar, and this unusual liqueur as well. I usually use brandy, but I thought I'd try something different, and it does taste quite nice.
Yeah, I'm quite intrigued by that, Ben. I'm just going to put brandy in mine today, and I'm going to put a good pinch of mixed spice in my mincemeat, because that gives it that really sort of traditional flavour, doesn't it? So I've got my mincemeat all mixed up here, and then I'm going to put some brandy in. So here comes my brandy, and I'm usually quite liberal with my brandy in my mincemeat. So I'm going to put about 3 tablespoons of brandy in. If I'm doing a big batch, I put a good glass of brandy in my mincemeat. And generally what you do when you make mincemeat like this, all the fruits are still very dry. And you can see the difference here between the one that's been sitting for about 2 months and this one that's just made. But I think it'll be quite nice to see how they turn out. I think this will be very tasty, but obviously the longer that fruit sits in that moisture, it'll soak it up and soak up all those lovely flavours. So there we have. So here we have, I've got our freshly made mincemeat. I've got my mincemeat that I've made previously, and I've also got some bought mincemeat. So this is one that my boss does. It's Mrs. Darlington's Marvellous Mincemeat with Brandy, which was voted best bought mincemeat by the Sunday Telegraph. So I managed to get a last jar because it's been so popular since the Telegraph did an article on it that the factory ran out. So people were able to get a hold of it. So I'm rather relieved that I managed to. So you can see that with a bought mincemeat, it's quite a different consistency.
Karen, go on.
Yeah, Chrissie, do you not warm your mincemeat up then at all?
Well, actually, do you know when I don't, no. But I do melt my butter to pour over it and mix it in. My friend always puts hers in the oven, her mincemeat.
I've noticed. It's really interesting how it's interesting how nothing's right and nothing's wrong, is there?
No.
I bubble everything up except the brandy for about 10 minutes and make it go a bit syrupy, and then I cool it down and put some brandy in there.
Yeah. And I think Delia does it like that, doesn't she? I have done that one where, you put it, I've got like a big jam pan, and I've done it in the big jam pan and got it all sort of quite warm and moist. And like you say, if you cool it down and then add your brandy and then bottle it in your sterilised jars, then So no, I mean today, because this is the sort of like last, just a last minute thing. I'm just going to give it a try and see what it's like without having to leave it to mature. So, right, so I think our pastry hasn't had an awful long time, but our ovens are on, hopefully, at 180. And we've greased our trays, our mince pie trays are all greased and ready. And we've got our cutters. So when you're choosing a cutter for your mince pie tray, sometimes I make the really tiny ones are like a little mouthful. So you just want to make sure that your cutters are slightly larger than your actual indentation for your mince pie. So that to me looks like a good choice. So we'll flour our surface. Let's have a look, Marnie.
Yeah, this one, so it should be okay.
Yeah, looks. Have you got a slightly smaller one or not?
Yes, I have a slightly smaller one.
Let me have a look at that.
But it's just like on top of the it's just fit. So
I can't see Marnie. Can I see Marnie? Can I see Marnie's tray?
Can you see me? But anyway, I think I'm just gonna roll with it.
See me. Oh, there you go. One. Put it on the tray. Let me see Marnie. Oh no, now I can see Ben. He's flouring. He's zooming ahead.
Yeah, there you are. There you are. I hope you can see me.
It just needs to be, Marnie. It just needs to be slightly further on, slightly larger rather than the actual pastry. Yeah.
Yeah, the way I decided, I've got the tray right, and I got the selection out, and just one that just fits. Mine's fine if it just the sort of diameter of it just sits above the top.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that'll be fine, Marnie. That looks good.
Yeah, thank you.
Could you get the pastry out the fridge for me, darling? Please. No, the other fridge. Sorry. I've got Jeff running around for me. Bless him. He's already had to get out the village for suet because I never have it in.
John's making me a cup of tea.
What's that? Sorry, did you say? He's making you a cup of tea.
Yeah, I've got a bake with a legend class this evening, so I can't have too many sherries during the day.
No, best not. Thank you. This is fine. Thank you.
So how is Josie? Is Josie come back? Have you turned the oven on already?
Yeah, I had my oven on, but it was at 200, so I have to put it down to 180.
180, am I correct?
Yeah.
So we're going to flour our rolling pins. We've floured our surface. Flour your rolling pin. And then we're going to roll our pastry out. And you can see it rolls really well because it is quite a soft pastry.
Beautiful.
It is a nice pastry, isn't it, Karen?
Oh, really nice. I've never done it with the icing sugar before. I know you can.
Yeah.
Great. Soft.
So you want to get it, I don't know, about 2-3 millimeters thick. You don't want it too thick and you don't want it too thin, but it's however. I always say about
no thicker than a pound coin.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And some people love thick pastry, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Thick people love thick pastry.
I love pastry. I
love pastry, but you know, when you've seen how much fat goes in it, it's a bit off-putting if you're trying to keep your slimming weight going.
Yeah.
Well, at Christmas it's all right, isn't it?
Well, everything's allowed at Christmas. All calories are allowed at Christmas.
Yeah.
They don't count.
Worry about it next month.
Yes, we'll all be worrying about it next month.
So if there anyone can discuss about the topping of this mince pie, are you having it with brandy sauce, or are you having it with cream, or what is other people having it?
Cup of tea.
Cup of tea. I rather like making, I like doing whipped cream and putting a little Grand Marnier in it or something like that.
Oh, that's yummy.
There's plenty of mixture, you know. I thought we'd just make it 12, but I've done my cases are in now chilling while I finish off something. I'll do the tops next, I suppose. But there seems to be plenty.
I mean, when I do mine, I don't like them sealed with a lid, you know, like a pie, which is the traditional way of doing a mince pie. And you know, when you think about the making of mincemeat and mince pies, especially in you know, sort of the 1600s, like Samuel Pepys wrote in his diary that his wife, who had allowed his wife to stay in bed, she was desirous of sleep because she had been up till 4 a.m. supervising the maids, not doing it herself, supervising the maids in making the mince pies for Christmas.
Hey, those were the days.
I know. And there's one entry where in his diary where he his wife is poorly and she wasn't able to sort out the mince pies, so he had to buy them in. So mince pies were a huge part of the Christmas tradition. You had to have mince pies. And I like to have little stars on my mince pies. And the reason I like that is because when it comes to putting something scrumptious like, you know, brandy butter or whipped cream with a bit of alcohol in on my mince pie, I just lift off my little star and I pop whatever yummy thing I'm putting on, and then I put the star back on.
Aha.
Yeah.
You see.
Method. It's quite difficult, isn't it, if you do a sealed mince pie to take the lid off?
Yes. You just need to get a syringe.
Yes. So how's everybody getting on? What stage is everyone at?
Stars.
I rolled my pastry too thick, so I have to like re-roll it again to make it good for 12 and including the stars as well. So
And you know, this pastry freezes well, as we'll have more. Sorry, Karen, what were you saying?
No, I wasn't. I was singing about stars. Just ignore me. About stars. On the night of 1,000 stars.
Oh, lovely. We're being serenaded at the same time. So if we have our, if we make our 12 mince pies, obviously we've got excess pastry here. So you can either make extra mince pies and freeze them, or the pastry freezes really well. Do you freeze your pastry, Karen?
Yes, quite often. And I often freeze. You know, for example, these mince pies could be frozen cooked, or they could be frozen uncooked as well, if you wanted to.
Yes. Yes.
You know, it's perfect in the freezer. Is this? I'm not quite sure whether to just make some more. 1, 2, 3, 4. For all my haunts of guests coming at Christmas.
Oh, isn't it a shame? It's a great shame. But do you know what? I just think we need to look forward to next year, where things have got to be improving, surely, and all those fantastic parties we're going to have.
Yeah.
Invited to and going to throw. I'm a big
I was
party.
thinking about that very thing, actually, you know, because I've got this massive turkey. Like, it was only ever going to be 3 meat, even if my guests were coming, because they're all vegans and vegetarians. But I thought, well, if we're having a Christmas, we'll have the spectacle. So anyway, I've got a big, and it's in the freezer. And I might just leave it there until Easter. Maybe we might be able to have, like you say, a Easter party, you know, Easter Sunday, rolled into one maybe.
Or summer solstice. I think we're going to go for the summer solstice.
Well, shall I tell you something?
Solstice tomorrow.
I'll tell you about that then, if you like. when I worked in camping, which was not that long ago, I started working in Europe, well, France, in 2009, me and John. As we worked for Canvas Holidays, basically. We looked after holiday accommodation. We were the maintenance team. Anyway, when we got started with the company, we soon found out that we had something called Courier Christmas every June the 25th. And what it was tradition, because all these young people generally had been working together and they'd never see each other again at Christmas because the season was finished. So somewhere along the line, so every year for 7 or 8 years, we did Courier Christmas, and you just did it as Christmassy as you could. So everybody managed to take out with them stuff like this to wear. We did Christmas parties, we made Christmas dinners. You know, I once cooked a Christmas 3-course Christmas dinner with John and with the girls. We did it between us for 27 couriers to sit down to on Courier Christmas in June. It were boiling hot. It were great.
Like an Australian Christmas.
Yeah, so it's the same sort of thing that you're thinking about. Just postpone it for 6 months.
Yes. Well, you know, and also I think, you know, we'll be lighting our fire pit tomorrow for winter solstice, because, you know, that in the Middle Ages, that was quite a fraught time of year, wasn't it? They had a very hard winter ahead of them. You know, the crops were finished. There wasn't much food-wise. And I think they used to fast, didn't they? Up to Christmas, when the Christmas Eve was the start of all the feasting. And apparently with the mince pie, do you probably know this, Karen, but with the mince pies, the tradition was, if you had a mince pie every day until 12th night from Christmas, then you would have 12 months of happiness.
Good luck, yes.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck.
That's why we're making 12 mince pies today, then, is it?
We're just going to make these 12 at the moment, yes. And then I just wonder how everybody's getting on. Has everybody got their bottoms in, and we're ready to put our mincemeat in?
Yeah.
Yes.
How are you, Marnie? Have you got your bottoms in?
No, but please do go ahead. I'm a little behind, but I think I'm getting there.
So we're going to put, I'm just going to try, I'm going to do a row of the bought mincemeat and a row of my homemade matured mincemeat, and then I'm going to do a row of my just freshly made mincemeat. So I'm just putting in a heaped, I find I can put in a heaped teaspoon of mixture. You don't want them too full because they will overflow. And if you weren't doing starlage, you could actually make it into your traditional pie with a lid. And then you just need to put a little egg wash or milk around the rim to seal it down and press it round to seal it. I've got that one is my bought mincemeat. We're going to have a tasting session later, you know.
Are you going to let us know which you think?
Let me know what we think.
Are you going to have a blind tasting, so you're tasting without any preconceptions?
Yeah, we should really, shouldn't we?
You can if you set them. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what. I might test them on the 2 people in my house and see which they think they of them both. They won't know what's what.
They won't know. Yeah.
They won't know. I'll know, but they won't know. It can make a difference, can't it? If you have a preconception of something,
certainly,
how it tastes.
Well, yes. Look at supermarkets and marketing. You know, people. You know, if you get a biscuit or cornflakes from a cheaper shop, you know, you inevitably think, oh, well, they're not going to be as good as they are from they're often the same thing, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it always makes me laugh when there's a bit of an uproar about some advertising or something, and they get on the TV, you know, on the news or something, and they say, oh, well, advertising, it doesn't have that, you know, it's not that harmful because it's not that big an influence. And I'm thinking, well, they spend millions every year on advertising. You know, people, you're quite susceptible, aren't you? I've sat before now, we've watched TV, and then there's Thank Crunchy, It's Fridays come on, and I've turned to Jeff and gone, oh God, I really need a crunchy bar now. Right, so I'm going to use my freshly made mincemeat. I'm going to give that a try. It'll be quite interesting because, of course, it hasn't soaked up anything. And perhaps, Karen, it would have been an idea with this one to have heated it up, but then, you know, it wouldn't cool down in time.
No, that's the other thing. I'm doing a bake with a legend mince pies tomorrow evening, and we do make it on the stove, but my instructions then is, right, get enough out of the pan, pop it into a bowl and take it somewhere cold. Because obviously you can't put hot mincemeat on cold pastry.
Yeah. No, it doesn't like it, does it? No.
Are we just topping off with a star then? No further instructions?
So we're just going to pop our mincemeat in, and then we're going to pop a star on, because we do want access to our mince pies to put something delicious like brandy butter or whatever it is everybody fancies putting on their mince pies. There's a farm down the road that makes the most beautiful clotted cream. And I think I posted on my Instagram on Garden Goddess 216. Henry makes this fabulous clotted cream, and they've also started doing a custard, which is absolutely fantastic. Because I always made my own custard, but I was so fed up when it went wrong, thinking of all the eggs and cream that I'd wasted, that I now buy it. So there we go. I've got my mince pies all ready to go into the oven. I think I'm going to have to mark them somehow so that I know which is which. But you know what? I think I'll be able to tell by just by the look of the mincemeat. So how's everyone doing? Has everyone done their little stars on top of their mincemeat?
I didn't do a star. I just like.
Have you sealed yours in a pie, Josie? They look good, Karen.
No, I can do like just a wee round thing, but I can still see some out. So I might do a wee star. So let's see.
I find sometimes if I put a lid on, I tend to sometimes overfill them. And I think I'm putting a lid on. Sometimes you can get them oozing through, can't you? If you don't get a good seal.
Oh, right, okay.
Traditional mince pie, they put a lid on it, and it would all be totally sealed.
Right. Let me just get some.
Yeah, I think Mrs. Beaton during Victorian times, she had a recipe in her book, in her cookbook, telling you how to make a mince pie, as in a meat mince pie. But she also published another recipe with it, which was purely fruit. And after that, I think the Victorians just went more towards the sweet mincemeat. And so we don't have any meat at all now, do we? I don't think I fancy meat in my mince pie. But there is the suet. I suppose some people use suet, and that's usually a beef suet, isn't it?
The birds.
I'm going to put mine in the oven.
Are we going in?
They're going in, Karen.
Going in.
I think. Let me just.
They're going
do that.
in.
Let me just.
Going in.
Oh,
I like to the birds in the garden at this time of year when it's really cold, like a bit of pastry to nibble on.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Well, all the butter in there, it's good. It gives them that energy and keeps them warm. Cooked or uncooked, I think is fine.
how long do we have to bake it for?
So we're going to bake it for about 10-15 minutes. It's because it's a sweet pastry. Sometimes it doesn't take very long. It depends how thick your pastry is. But as Karen said, generally that pound coin depth is a good guide to how thick to roll your pastry. So we're going to give it 10 minutes. And then we shall see what they're like then. But if you look and it's looking golden and cooked, it's done. And sometimes I almost don't take them up to that level. I take them out and then I let them cool and freeze them. And then I stick the whole tray back in the oven once I've taken them out the freezer. And it's fresh mince pies.
I'll just give you a tip that I've started using, not so much for these because they're the shallow, regular sort of traditional size tins we're using. But tomorrow when I do my mince pie class, we're using cupcake one. And to get if you're concerned about soggy bottoms with your pastry underneath, I just put as the oven's heating up, I put a metal baking tray in there to get really hot, like hot plates, so that when the pastry goes on it, it convects straight into the bottom of those pies. That's the cooking process. Because sometimes with pastry, you turn it over and it's not quite underneath. And it works.
It does work, and it's great for something like a quiche, that too, Karen.
Something like that, yeah. Something that needs, yeah. I mean, these are quick, and they should be fine with that anyway.
Yeah.
Chrissie, I just need to remember.
Yes.
Do we base it with milk, isn't it?
You can. I mean, I haven't done mine, but yes, an egg wash. Milk and an egg, or just milk.
Milk and egg. Okay.
Just to give it a nice colour, if that's what you'd like to do. I haven't bothered with mine because what I tend to do is when they've cooled down, I just sprinkle them with some icing sugar.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Karen, for the tip. It was very good.
Josie, did you want to ask something else?
Yeah, I was about to say I didn't manage the star because I forgot how to make it. It's a completely blank mind. So just put it that. Is that okay?
Yeah,
it's slightly sealed.
If you've sealed your mince pies, just do a little prick, with the tip of a knife in each one. Just put a little air hole in. You'll know that. But that's something to do.
It's not completely sealed, so it's okay. So it's got like it's a thick pastry. Thank you.
Super.
It's my first time, so I'm so excited.
Oh right, oh good. And do you like mince pies?
Yeah, I always go to Marks and Spencer's. I can finish the whole box.
Oh, let me see, Ben. Ben's looked interesting there.
Yeah, I've done some sealed ones.
Josie, could you highlight Ben for me?
He is highlighted. I don't know what screen.
Where is he? Oh, I don't know what's going on with mine.
Done some sealed ones, and I've just done some braised star ones as well.
That's an interesting presentation with the raised.
Yes. Very good.
See how they come out. They're going in. They're going in.
Going in. Well done. Excellent.
Yeah. I really like the look of Ben's mince pie because you just like totally fill it up and then you can get a full mouthful of those mince meat.
Yeah.
It's gonna be juicy and lovely.
Yeah. That's what's so wonderful. That's what I've enjoyed about cooking with all of you lovely chefs, because you've all got your own slant on things, and you're obviously experienced in so many different avenues of baking and cooking. That I really enjoy that, and I think it's been rather nice because like making my mincemeat, there's been comments of like, well, that's very similar to what I do, but I do this, and I've loved learning so much from everybody. And I've always been an instinctive cook, and I've always made up recipes or adulterated recipes, but it's been wonderful to learn lots of new recipes and new ways of cooking, and especially things like some of the Thai food we've had, the Oriental food we've had. It's been absolutely fantastic. And I do, Josie did that, the beef thing. Well, I did it with the noodles. That was wonderful. And I've continually made Marnie's corn Thai cakes, and continually made Penang curry.
I love the first thing that you did, Chrissie, which was the
going in
roasted peppers.
Roasted peppers.
Going in.
Roasted peppers. Oh, well done, Josie. And she goes. The roasted peppers are such a go-to recipe in this house, because the number of people, if they come for dinner, they always want roast peppers for starters.
Yeah. It was lovely, especially that was summertime, and it was really lovely for them. I mean, it would be lovely, of course, but it just was
and they taste of summer, don't they?
And they look like summer, the reds and the yellows and orange, beautiful. Yeah.
Lovely. We've
And it's the first time I've used anchovies in my life, and I use them a lot now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was never a fan of tinned anchovies,
Well, I
but they
thought
are
they're like little hairy fish, aren't they? I thought.
Yeah, they're my favourite.
They're very good
Anyway,
for you, though, aren't they? Oily fish is good.
Yeah, but
Aren't they?
hairy
Again,
fish though, the hairy fish.
The hairy fish. Anyway, I eventually I got my sous chef to come and help me and cut some little Christmas tree. It's not as you know, as a little tree, but it's good. It's okay. Hope everything will be okay. So I'm gonna put it in very soon. But however, I think it's kind of done for today. Am I right? Yep. Otherwise, actually, I think we all should have a little snap of how you feel about this cook along, and to say Merry Christmas to everyone who's watching us today. Shall we start from Ben? Would you like to have a little talk and then say Merry Christmas to everyone? You're muted.
Oh, you're muted, Ben.
No, you are
2020 muted.
This one, your handset is down. You have
I think it has.
Sorry, I'm always doing that. Is that better? Sorry. Well, that's better. Merry Christmas, everyone. I've thoroughly enjoyed every week has been different. It's been fantastic. So have a fantastic Christmas and a happy New Year. And I really look forward to doing this again next year. And let's hope the Great British Food Festivals are on, so we can have lots of people coming to see all our fantastic demonstrations. Next year, I'm 50. Would you believe it? So I've decided already I'm not going to have just one party. I'm going to have a month of parties. So you're invited to all of them.
Well, can you have
Fantastic.
it in late summer so that we've had the vaccine?
Yes.
Then there goes Josie.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. It's always been lovely learning something new from everyone, and also thanks for trying my recipe and Cook Along Live 2021, and hope you guys can join us.
Thank you, Josie. Karen.
Yeah, hello everybody, yes, and I'd just also like to add my thanks to you all for joining us, watching our antics in our kitchens, to Great British Food Festivals, obviously, for setting this up and for organising the festivals for next year, and we're looking forward, obviously, to those, hopefully, fingers crossed, going